That $800 marine mechanic bill sitting on your counter right now? You could have fixed it yourself in 10 minutes with a screwdriver and maybe a wire brush. Marine mechanics charge you $200 an hour to turn screws and wiggle connectors, the same things you can do yourself once you know where to look. Today, we're showing you 12 boat engine problems that look expensive, sound terrifying, and cost almost nothing to fix yourself. By the end of this video, you'll save thousands of dollars per season. Before I save you money, subscribe to our channel if you want to learn more about everything that's boat engine related. Now let's get started. Problem 1. Your engine refuses to start and you're panicking. Everyone at the boat ramp is watching. You turn the key. Nothing happens. You turn it again. Still nothing. People are waiting. Your face is getting red. This is humiliating. Before you call a tow truck, look at your kill switch. That little red lanyard attached to your ignition. Is it fully seated? 90% of the time when an engine mysteriously refuses to start, someone bumped the kill switch and nobody noticed. Push it in firmly until you hear the click. Try starting again. The engine fires immediately and you look like a genius instead of calling a mechanic who would have charged $150 to push that exact same button. Takes 30 seconds, costs you nothing, saves you a service call and massive embarrassment. Problem 2. Dead battery or the engine cranks weakly. You turn the key and hear that sad clicking sound, or the engine turns over slowly like swimming through molasses. Everyone assumes the battery died and starts looking for jumper cables. Check your battery terminal connections first, grab a wrench and tighten both terminals. 9 times out of 10, they've loosened from vibration. While you're there, look for white or green crusty buildup on the terminals. Corrosion kills your electrical connection. Grab a wire brush and scrub the terminals clean. Takes 5 minutes. If you have anti-corrosion spray, hit the terminals after cleaning. This prevents the problem from returning. A mechanic would charge $200 to $300 for this. You just did it yourself for the cost of a wire brush and maybe a can of spray. Problem 3. Engine sputters and loses power randomly. You're cruising along perfectly when suddenly the engine starts coughing. Power drops. The engine recovers, then stumbles again. Something is clearly wrong and you're miles from the dock. Water in your fuel. It happens constantly. Condensation builds up in fuel tanks. Rain gets in through loose fill caps. Gas stations sometimes have contaminated fuel. The water separates and clogs your fuel filter. Locate your fuel filter. Most boats have an inline filter or a water separator bowl you can see through. If you see water sitting at the bottom, drain it. Replace the filter if you have a spare on board. 8 minutes maximum. Keep spare fuel filters on your boat always. They cost $10 at any marine store. A mechanic charges $300 to $500 for the exact same repair. They bill you for diagnostic time, parts markup, and labor. Problem 4. Engine starts then immediately dies, especially common on older 2-stroke outboards. The engine fires up, runs for 3 seconds, then quits. You try again. Same thing. Fires, runs briefly, dies. You're thinking this is major engine trouble. Fouled spark plugs, remove them, which takes about 10 minutes with a spark plug socket. Look at the tips. If they're black, oily, or wet, clean them with a wire brush or just replace them. Spark plugs cost $5 each. Dry them completely if they're just wet. Reinstall them. Try starting the engine. Suddenly it runs perfectly. You just solved the exact problem a mechanic would charge $250 to diagnose and fix. Keep spare spark plugs on board. They're cheap insurance against being stranded. Problem 5. Your trim refuses to raise at the boat ramp. You're at the loading ramp trying to raise your outdrive so you can load the boat on the trailer. You hit the trim button. Nothing happens. The motor stays down and you're blocking the entire ramp while people honk and glare. Find the manual trim release valve. A small screw or valve sits near the base of your outdrive or jack plate. Open it by turning counterclockwise a few turns. Now you can raise the drive by hand. Takes 3 minutes once you know where to look. Your owner's manual shows the location. A towing service plus mechanic diagnosis would run you $400 minimum for something you just fixed manually while standing in the water. Close the valve before running the engine again or your trim will leak down under power. Problem 6. Temperature alarm screaming and the engine's overheating. That alarm going off sends immediate panic through every boat owner. Overheating can destroy an engine in minutes. You shut down immediately and start mentally calculating repair costs in the thousands. Check your raw water intake first before assuming catastrophic failure. Look for the telltale stream of water that should be shooting from the side of your outboard or from a through hull on inboards. If the stream is weak or missing, your intake is clogged. Shut down the engine. Locate the raw water intake screen, usually near the bottom of the outdrive or on the hull. Pull out whatever's blocking it. Seaweed, plastic bags and mud are common culprits. Clear it completely. Restart the engine and watch for strong water flow from the telltale. Problem solved in 5 minutes. A mechanic would charge $350 plus parts to do the exact same thing. Problem 7. Engine runs rough and smells like old gas. The engine idles terribly. It hesitates when you accelerate. There's a weird smell coming from the exhaust. You start Googling expensive fuel system repairs. Old contaminated fuel causes this constantly. If your boat sat for months with fuel in the tank, the gasoline degraded. Add fuel stabilizer to the tank. Run the engine for 5 minutes to circulate it through the system. For severe cases where the boat sat all winter, you'll need to drain the old fuel and add fresh gas. Time-consuming, yet straightforward. A mechanic would charge $400 plus disposal fees to drain your tank and refill it. Use fuel stabilizer every time you fill up during the season. Prevents this problem completely. Costs $5 per bottle and lasts all season. Problem 8. Transmission refuses to shift into gear. You move the throttle forward, the engine revs, the boat goes nowhere. The transmission refuses to engage. You're stuck in neutral with an engine screaming at high RPM. The shift cable linkage is stuck or disconnected. Find where your shift cable connects to the transmission at the engine. Wiggle it, check if the connection came loose. If the cable is just stuck, manually move the shift lever at the transmission itself to engage gear. You can often free a stuck cable by working it back and forth a few times. 7 minutes of troubleshooting versus $500 for a mechanic to climb into your engine compartment and wiggle the exact same cable. Sometimes the cable needs replacement, which is legitimate. Most times it just needs adjustment or reconnection. Problem 9. Starter clicks and the engine refuses to turn over. You turn the key. You hear clicking from the starter. The engine sits there mocking you. Everyone assumes the starter motor died and starts calculating replacement costs. Corroded starter connections cause this more often than actual starter failure. Locate your starter motor. Find the large cables connecting to it, clean those terminals with a wire brush, tighten them firmly. Corrosion builds up on these connections constantly in marine environments. The clicking sound means electricity is reaching the starter. The connection is just too corroded to carry enough current. 6 minutes of cleaning versus $300 for a mechanic to do the same thing. Check and clean these connections at the beginning of every season. Prevents the problem entirely. Problem 10. Engine idles rough and stumbles at low RPM. The engine barely stays running at idle. It coughs and sputters. You give it throttle and it smooths out, then stumbles again when you back off. Clearly something is wrong with fuel delivery. Dirty carburetor air intake or flame arrestor. Your engine needs clean air to run properly. When the air filter or flame arrestor gets clogged with dirt and oil, the engine can't breathe. It runs rich and rough at idle. Remove the flame arrestor or air filter. Wash it with soap and water. Scrub off all the buildup. Let it dry completely before reinstalling. 8 minutes of cleaning versus $250 for a mechanic to do exactly this. Check and clean this every few months during the season. Keeps your engine running smooth and prevents costly fuel system problems down the road. Problem 11. Overheating alarm going off constantly. The temperature alarm keeps screaming even though the raw water intake is clear. You check the telltale stream and water is flowing. Something else is causing overheating and you're worried about engine damage. Clogged or stuck thermostat. The thermostat regulates engine temperature. When it sticks closed, coolant can't circulate properly. The engine overheats even though everything else works fine. Remove the thermostat temporarily to get home safely. The engine will run cooler without it. 10 minutes of work using basic tools. Replace the thermostat later when you're back at the dock. New thermostats cost $20. A mechanic would charge $400 for diagnosis and replacement. You just save that money by spending 10 minutes with a wrench. Running without a thermostat long-term makes the engine run too cool, which causes other problems. Replace it soon. Temporary removal just gets you home safely. Problem 12. No electrical power anywhere on the boat. Nothing works. The ignition does nothing, the gauges are dead, the bilge pump refuses to run. You're checking for loose battery cables when you should be checking something much simpler. Blown fuse. Most boats have a main fuse box near the battery or helm. One blown fuse can kill power to everything. Takes 2 minutes to locate the fuse box, find the blown fuse and replace it with a spare. Fuses cost 50 cents. Carry spares on board always. A mechanic would charge $150 to $200 for diagnosis. You just fixed it in the time it takes to tie a bowline. The fuse blew for a reason. Figure out what caused the short circuit or overload. Sometimes it's just age. Other times there's an actual electrical problem that needs addressing. So let's add up what you just learned. 12 common problems, 12 simple fixes. Total time per fix ranges from 30 seconds to 10 minutes. Total potential savings per season, $4,000 to $6,000 in mechanic bills. Most boat owners panic when something goes wrong. They assume marine engines are complicated, mysterious machines that only certified mechanics understand. The truth? Most problems are simple. Loose connections, clogged filters, dirty components. Basic stuff you can handle yourself. The key is knowing what to check first. Start with the simple, obvious things before assuming catastrophic failure. Kill switch, battery connections, fuel filter, spark plugs. These solve 90% of the problems boat owners face. Here's what you need to keep on board. Spare fuel filters. 3 or 4 minimum. They're small and cheap. When you need one, you really need one. Spare spark plugs. A complete set for your engine. Mark them so you know which cylinder they go in. Spare fuses. Buy an assortment pack. They cost $10 and last for years. Basic tools, screwdrivers, wrenches, socket set, wire brush, pliers, nothing fancy. Just enough to handle these common repairs. Anti-corrosion spray prevents electrical problems before they start. Spray every connection at the beginning of the season. Fuel stabilizer. Add it every time you fill up. Prevents the fuel contamination problems that strand so many boats. A flashlight. Half these repairs happen when you can't see properly. A good headlamp leaves both hands free. Your owner's manual. Seriously. It shows where everything is located and how to perform basic maintenance. Keep it on board in a waterproof bag. So, what problems have you fixed yourself? What did a mechanic charge you for something simple? Drop it in the comments. Real stories from real boaters help everyone learn what to expect. Hit subscribe for more ways to save money and keep your boat running properly. Thanks for watching. Now get out there and fix something yourself.